Hey everyone, Melissa Wick here. I own Wick Law Offices, a small business law firm here in Columbus, Ohio. Today we're talking about breakups. So, breakups in a business are just about as painful as breakups in your personal life. I hate to break it to you, but like the usual suspects kind of rear their head, right? Like fear, anger, disappointment, heartbreak, all of those things kind of come up, especially when you've started a business with somebody and you've sort of planned your life according to this business, and maybe you thought you guys were in it together for the long haul, right? And so sometimes things happen though, and life circumstances happen and things change, and oftentimes one person might need to leave the business. So the way you handle this ahead of time is kind of like in like your personal life, right? People do prenups to like talk about what's going to happen if they get a divorce. And just like that, business owners ought to do something similar. For businesses, you can either put all those deals in your operating agreement, or you can do something called a buy-sell agreement, which is a separate standalone agreement. So either way is fine, but my point is like definitely do it. And I'm definitely going to tell you to don't pop onto LegalZoom thinking you're going to find something that is going to be adequate to serve your needs for this, because it just simply won't work. Buy-sell agreements and operating agreements are customized, highly tailored documents that address your specific business and your specific situation. Okay, so buy-sell agreements kind of set the rules for what's going to happen in the event of generally 5 circumstances. So the first one is voluntary withdrawal from the business, right? So that's just when somebody says, I don't want to be a part of this business anymore. I would like to leave. I don't want to work in the business. I don't really want my shares anymore. I want you to buy them from me, or however you're going to do it. That's the first situation, voluntary withdrawal. The second situation would be an involuntary withdrawal, where maybe other partners are unhappy with a certain partner's performance, or, and this happens a lot, guys, someone becomes disabled or dies, right? Those are things that happen in the world that nobody wants to think about or talk about. But the truth is that, like, if this happens to you, if this happens to your business partner, you want to know what's going to happen to your interest in the business personally. And then additionally, if you're somebody that's still running the business, you can't really operate it on without all 4 cylinders pumping, right? So if one of your partners goes down, with dies, or has a disability, you need to, just practically speaking, have a way to navigate that so that your business doesn't take a hit. Another involuntary type of transfer that might happen would be a bankruptcy or creditor issues with one of your partners, right? So it's kind of default that if a partner ends up in a bankruptcy, that partner gets kind of ousted out of the business, because various complications could occur when creditors try to come after that person. The business, if they own part of the business, that's an asset that creditors might try to come at, right? So in order to protect the business, generally a buy-sell agreement or the operating agreement will address what happens if somebody winds up in a bankruptcy. And the last situation I want to talk to you about is like deadlock between the partners. This means that, the partners are not in agreement on something pretty pivotal in the business, and they no longer can move forward or operate the business together, right? So an operating agreement should deal with that scenario. A buy-sell agreement should deal with that scenario. And if you don't deal with that scenario, you could be caught up in court proceedings for a very long time. So each of these scenarios is vastly different, and your operating agreement or your buy-sell agreement should address each of those scenarios with the specifics that you and your partners decide on ahead of time, right? This is the way to handle this. You do not want to be deciding this as you're going through it, right? Because you're each going to be very emotionally charged, and you're each going to have like really serious and real stakes in the result and the outcome, right? So you want to make sure that you've decided this stuff beforehand, so that you don't end up having to handle that as it's happening, right? Because that won't be fun. That'll be very painful for everybody. As important as all the things I just talked about is how you determine the buyout price, right? So if you've decided that someone's leaving, and you've decided that that's going to happen, then the next thing is you have to understand how the business is going to be valued, right? Because their interest is a part of that overall picture, right? So you have to agree on how you're going to come up with the value, the dollar amount of their interest, right? So you do that again ahead of time. So you can talk about whether we're going to apply certain discounts to this business. So accountants have like their generally accepted discounts that sometimes apply, right? Like a discount for lack of control or a discount for lack of markability. And those are discounts that sometimes apply, right? And if those discounts apply, that will substantially lower generally the value of the business, right? So you want to talk to your partners ahead of time with an accountant and with a good lawyer so that you understand whether or not you're going to apply those discounts to the value of your business down the road if you ever have to go through this process. The next big thing are the payment terms, right? So let's say that you nail down a value of the business, but then it's something that, you know, the business can't just make in one lump sum payment, right? That's most often the case. So within that discussion, you're going to want to talk about how long do we have to pay this price? How are we going to do it? And how many installments? Is there a certain portion that has to be paid up front? Do we need to pay for life insurance and disability insurance for each of the partners so that we can draw from that money? And then the last thing I'm going to say is just make sure everyone signs this document. Make sure that you've sat down with a lawyer and an accountant and you understand it very clearly, and make sure everyone signs off on it. Again, my name is Melissa Wick. I own Wick Law Offices, a small business law firm here in Columbus, Ohio. I work with a lot of startups and I've seen this scenario occur time and time again. So please, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me. My name is Melissa Wick. My email is mwick@mwicklaw.com. And my phone number is 614-572-6366. Thanks for watching.